Next up, we have the Beyerdynamic DT1990 Pros. You can see another big box here. These ones retail for around $500, $600 US, so more expensive than the Audio-Technicas and Sennheisers. And yeah, these have been out for a few years as well, but very, very well respected. So, you know, they're still selling well. A lot of professionals use them. This company, Beyerdynamic, if you don't know, maybe they're not quite as well known as Sennheiser because they don't make as many consumer models as Sennheiser does, but still very respected in the audiophile space. Yeah, I mean, I've had the Beyerdynamic, DT770 Pros, DT990 Pros before. Very, very comfortable headphones. I think that's the number one thing I remember from Beyerdynamic is that they make headphones that are very comfortable to wear, and they usually require a lot of power to drive them. So they made headphones with very high amount of ohms, like resistance before. So I do remember you need to have a dedicated headphone amp to drive a lot of their headphones, but they sound very good. And they're not like, those models are not too expensive, I'd say, but they do make more expensive models. Like they make the Tesla models, right? The T1s or whatever, they go up to $1,000 and like beyond. So yeah, they definitely make some high-end models as well. This I would say is definitely one of their high-end models. This one around $500-600. Not as expensive as like the T5P or whatever. Like those are really, the Tesla models are really expensive, but still fairly expensive headphone. This one more meant for the professional market, I'd say, but we're here to test that out and see how reference quality they are. So yeah, let's open them up. So you get this massive case here, massive case. We get okay, you get their guarantee here. So by the way, Beyerdynamic is a German company, just like Sennheiser. They've also been around for decades, so safe to say they know what they're doing. I love my German engineering, so it's interesting to compare them with Sennheiser. I think both of them compete in the same market, and they're pretty prominent rivals, I'd say. Yeah, I'd say Sennheiser is the bigger company and more well-known, but Beyerdynamic's definitely not a small company either, right? They've also been around for a while, and audiophiles definitely still know of them. DT990 Pros. Yeah, okay, this is just the quick start thing, right? Again, with these kind of headphones, it's just, you don't have many electronics inside of it, like no like Bluetooth or anything like that. You just have pure drivers and analog sound, right? Shouldn't be anything digital or anything going inside. So it shouldn't take as much, like you should be able to just plug a cable up to them. And sure, you'll need a headphone amp to drive them, but you just got to know what that resistance value is and then plug up the headphone amp. You should be able to drive them well. There shouldn't be any kind of fancy stuff you got to do, no batteries to charge or anything. All right, so yeah, this case is huge. Look how big this case is. Barely fits on my camera here. Huge case. This is not something you'd want to bring, by the way, to like in your backpack. It's like you'll basically take up all the space in your backpack. So not portable, guys. Just something I got to mention for these open air, open back headphones. They're not that portable. They're meant for home listening. Studio use, home listening. Okay, here we go. I mean, look how big these are. Wow. These are massive. What's this? Oh, there's extra. Wow, they give you extra cups. Huh. So nice of them. Okay. They give you some nice extra cups here. Yep. And nice little extra pouch here. What's inside this pouch? Coily cable. Ooh. Oh yeah, this is now we're dealing with hardcore stuff now. Hardcore audiophile stuff now. You got the coily cables, the 1/4 inch jack, which is an adapter, I believe. The 3.5 inch should be right here. Yep. Okay. Gold plated, of course. So just like the others, coiling cord. That's cool. And another one. Oh, they use proprietary connectors. Okay, so just like I guess Sennheiser also used this proprietary connector too. This is this a mini XLR? Okay, maybe not proprietary, but still, it's not a common connector. It's a mini XLR connector. Wow, it's XLR. Okay, and so you got a mini XLR to 1/4 or 3.5 millimeter cable here, and then you get a coily one. You get a non-coily one, a straight cable, and you get a coily cable. Oh, interesting. I wonder the coily cable should be more capacitance, right? Since it's actually longer technically. there should be more capacitance, which should, I guess, reduce a lot of the highs. So usually people, I mean, there's pros and cons to using coily cables, but using coily cables, since it has more capacitance, I would think would reduce the highs. But we'll see. I haven't tested them out. But these are the headphones themselves. I mean, wow, look at these. So professional looking. Wow, DT1990 Pro is made in Germany. I wonder if the Sens were made in Germany too. Not sure, they didn't say made in Germany. These ones are definitely made in Germany. They're more expensive too. Mini XLR connectors. That's when you know these headphones mean business. Mini XLR connectors right here. Wow, they mean business. Balanced. These cups, super comfortable. I mean, I've had Beyerdynamics before, and yeah, I think that's the thing I really remember the most from them. It's not just the sound, but the comfort. I mean, you can wear Beyerdynamics, you can wear Beyers like all day long, basically. They're super, super comfortable to wear. Yeah, nice padding up here. So I think these are probably going to be more comfortable to wear than the Sennheisers and probably the Audio-Technicas as well. Although Audio-Technicas are also comfortable to wear, but definitely compared to the Sens, these definitely look more comfortable to wear. Yeah, I mean, Beyers have always been, compared to Sens, I mean, they're different, but I would say the strength of a lot of the Beyer headphones at the comfort level is like you can wear them for a very long time. Yeah, Sennheiser is also going to be comfortable, not quite on the same level as Beyers, right? I mean, you can just tell here. Look at the Beyers compared to the Sens. You can just tell here the Beyer is going to be more comfortable. You can wear them for longer. Not to say anything bad about the Sens. I mean, just comparing, just holding it, the quality of the Beyer seems higher too. Of course, this is also more expensive, but yeah, the Sens, like this is made of like, it feels like it's cheaper. It's made of like some, I don't know, plastic or something like that here, but maybe it's not plastic, but it definitely feels lighter and more flimsy compared to the Beyers. The Beyers feel a lot more well built. I mean, this is, look at this material here is, wow, it's yeah, this is like steel. I mean, it's like metal right here. So this is not metal. Yeah, it's definitely, it's not plastic, I don't think, but it's not metal either. So it definitely feels lighter and a little bit more flimsy probably. So not to say anything bad about Sennheiser, of course. We all know Sennheiser is legendary too. So yeah, we're going to compare these guys as well. But for sure, I am certain that the Beyers will be more comfortable. Let's look at this. And you can replace these ear pads, right? You can, you can just slides off just like that. So, all right, guys. So yeah, that's the Beyerdynamic DT1990 Pros, and we'll definitely be testing these out as well. I'm excited. Last but not least, I have the Focal Elexes. So these are a collaboration with Massdrop as well, just like the Dan Clark Audios. These ones are more expensive though. These cost about $750 US, so they're the most expensive headphones in this video. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to try these out actually. I'm a huge fan of Focals. A few years ago, I did another video on another pair of Focals, the Alirs. So I did an unboxing of the Alir and compared it to the Audi's LCD ones, which are around the same price I paid for them. I compared the two. I like the Focals a lot more. The LCD ones, I guess because of their size, just didn't sound as big to me. The Focals had better soundstage, better clarity and details, just everything about the Focals. The Alirs were better than the LCD ones, and better than the EL8s as well. So yeah, Focals beat out the Audis for me in the last comparison video. So I was excited to get these pair of Focals. I actually bought this online for about 500 bucks. So I saved a few $100s, I would say, off the retail price. And yeah, that's why I got them actually here. I don't think I would pay full price for them, but at the price I got it for, I'm pretty excited. So yeah, a little bit of background about Focal. They're a French company. They're started out with loudspeakers, I guess in a similar story to Bowers & Wilkins. Just like Bowers & Wilkins, actually I think they're actually owned by the same company now, but just like Bowers & Wilkins, they started out making loudspeakers and then they gradually got more into headphones later on. So yeah, now they're equally known for both, I would say. They're equally known for loudspeakers and headphones, and their high-end headphones like the Utopia gets, you know, basically universal acclaim, right? So they're very well known by audiophiles in the high-end headphone industry. So I am excited about these guys. You can see how big this box is. This is probably the biggest box out of all of them. I mean, yeah, the Beyers had pretty big box too, and the Audio Technicas, but these have the biggest box out of all of them. Pretty much nothing else around the box. Is just a plain black box with mass drop and focal on it. All right, guys, ready for the spectacular unveiling here. Ooh, here we go. Oh man. All right, these are what the headphones look like here. You can see this, it's well protected by foam here, but yeah, I'd say this is a similar unboxing experience to my previous Focals, which is the Aleers. Yeah, I think Focals always used like really nice big boxes like this, and they look really, really heavy duty. I mean, yeah, just look at the cables here, right? Let's check out the cables. All right, so this is, looks like these are the headphone connectors. They look similar to 3.5 millimeter connectors, but these are the headphone connectors here. And it's a 1/4 inch connector jack here. I'd had to put an adapter to make it 3.5, but yeah, I would say this is for like a typical headphone amp, or you know, some kind of studio or whatever. Use the 1/4 connector a lot. So if you want to use it for I guess more typical consumer devices like a DAP or like an MP3 player or something like that, or your smartphone, you'd probably have to use a 3.5 millimeter adapter here. And then the other cable here, okay, same headphone connectors, but this one is an XLR type of connector. Okay, so this is like a balanced XLR connector. Okay, so you have unbalanced cable, which is the 1/4 inch jack, can also be converted to 3.5, and then you have, which is unbalanced as well, and then you have the balanced connection here, which is a balanced XLR cable. So some high-end headphone amps have balanced connections. I don't have any headphone amps that use an XLR input, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are, you know, if they have high-end headphone amps at home, then they might actually have balanced connectors. And in that case, you know, balanced connections are supposed to reduce noise. So I think a balanced connector is probably better if you have a piece of equipment that uses it. All right, so yeah, I'm going to use the unbalanced because I don't have any headphone amps or any equipment that use the balanced XLR connector. All right, oh, in the middle here is this is the actual small booklet that you get here. Well, I think what you notice about these more high-end headphones is that they come with relatively little paperwork compared to the more mass consumer stuff, right? Like I did a video on my wireless headphones as well, all the wireless headphones comparing, right? They came with a lot more paperwork than these headphones do. These are more high-end headphones, but less paperwork. I guess because they're technically simpler to operate, right? They don't have as much like electronic technology inside of it. Yeah, they have more like analog technology, I would say. So less digital electronic stuff going on, so less paperwork for these guys. All right, here's a manual. There's a, yeah, so Focal's more traditionally known for their speakers. Like, I mean, these are really high-end speakers, like thousands and thousands of dollars. It's made in France. These headphones are made in France, by the way. Excellence, innovation. Let's see, okay. All right, let's look at the headphones themselves. Okay, here it is. Like I said, I haven't put the connectors on yet, but you guys can see what they look like. Honestly, they don't look all that different from my previous Focals. My previous Focals were the Aleers. They are lower end than this. This is a $750 pair of headphones. And the Aleers actually cost more than that when it first came out, but they're older too. So right now, if you go online, these you can find online for, I got these for $500. You can also find them for around, I think, $500, $600 online. The Aleers, I think I got them for $400 because they're older. So yeah, these are technically more higher end than the Aleers are, even though the Aleers had more higher MSRP because the Aleers are older. So yeah, these should sound higher end compared to my previous Focals. They look pretty similar though. I mean, the design of the Focals, I don't think are all, they, at least from the outside, they don't look that different compared to Focal's previous products. So yeah, this is the Elex. You can see here, Made in France is basically what this says. Dynamic driver, like I said, the Dan Clark Audio Aeons are the only ones that are planar mags, but the rest of these headphones are all dynamic drivers. Like I said, not anything like, it's just different. It doesn't mean that one technology is better than the other, right? We still have very high-end, like Focal is like a good example, very high-end headphones that still use dynamic drivers. So it doesn't mean necessarily that planar mags are better. It's just a different tech, but traditional dynamic drivers can sound pretty good too if designed the right way, like Focals have. This is pretty nice padding here. Again, not sure if it's going to compare to the Beyerdynamics, which Beyers have always been the most comfortable for me, but it should be more comfortable than the Sens. I think Sennheiser is not really known for comfort that much. Definitely not as much as Beyer. And yeah, it'll be interesting compared to the Audio Technicas and the Dan Clark Audios for the comfort, and the pads seem pretty nice too. Yeah, all these headphones have pretty good padding actually for the ear cups. I mean, they're not grottos or anything. If I got grottos, then those would actually be kind of, the padding is a little bit thinner on grottos and definitely not this level. But grottos are not known to be comfortable headphones. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks very well built, and yeah, it's very high end. I mean, these are the most expensive out of all the whole bunch. The Beyerdynamics are the second most expensive, but these are the most expensive. So yeah, definitely check them out. But these are the Focal Elexes. So yeah, they're the only ones that don't come with any kind of 3.5 millimeter adapter. So I actually have to use, I had to look around and use my own, or I can use one that I got from the other ones. But yeah, that's something. It's also the only one that comes with this kind of balanced connector here, the XLR. Yeah. All right. Let's listening to the Beyerdynamic DT1990 Pros and the Focal Elexes for a few more weeks, I've actually changed my opinion slightly on them, and I think that's because maybe the headphones needed a bit of time to break in. I didn't realize that some headphones needed to be broken in. I thought it was mostly speakers that needed to be broken in, but apparently some higher end headphones do benefit from break-in. So yeah, after listening to these two for a few more weeks, I think it's interesting because the sound on the Focals, I decided to, I like them a lot more than before. So if you remember, I said that the Focal Elexes, the sound quality is overall, very, very good. It's very detailed. The sound stage was great. And so was the Beyerdynamics. I said that they were about equal in terms of the sound quality, but the Focal Elexes, I didn't like the highs as much because it was a little bit too sharp, too harsh for me. Sounded a bit fatiguing if I kept listening to it. In the Beyerdynamics is a V-curve shape. Right, so more bass, mids are pushed down a bit, recessed a bit, but the bass is pushed up a bit, and the highs are pushed up a bit, but done tastefully, right? So now, after listening to them more, my opinion on the Beyerdynamics is still about the same. I do think that the bass on the Beyerdynamics, if you like bass, then Beyerdynamics will give you that, and the highs are very good in the Beyerdynamics. The mids are a bit recessed. Overall, very, very good V-curve, like soft V-curve sound signature for those of you who like that. And overall great quality, sound stage, everything is great about the Beyerdynamics, as I said. So my opinion on the Beyers didn't change too much. However, the Focals, as I listened to the Focals more, the highs actually became a little bit softer. And then I actually started liking it more. As I kept listening to the Focals, I just noticed it's actually more revealing than I expected. So yeah, the Elexes I think are actually sound quality wise a bit more than the Beyerdynamics. I would say it's a bit more detailed, a bit more revealing, and a bit more dynamic. So after listening to the Focals more and more, I actually started liking them more than before. So the highs didn't grate on me as much. So yeah, so now that's where my opinion changes a bit. I think the Focals are actually probably the best out of all these headphones in terms of the overall sound quality. The sound signature, like I said, is more neutral. It's a very balanced sound signature. Just overall, if you were looking for a very balanced pair of headphones, like sound signature is very balanced. Nothing's like really heavily emphasized, but it's very, very detailed, very revealing. Just overall, I think for a audiophile reference type of headphone, the Focal Elexes are very good. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I think they're both good, but in their own ways. So the Beyers, I think, really good for like electronic type of music. So since I listen to a lot of K-pop, the bass really hits hard on the Beyers. Like it has really punchy bass, and because it's pushed up a bit, I think it's really good for the EDM, electronic music, K-pop, hip-hop, like that kind of stuff. For like Earth, Wind, and Fire, which I tested with before, the Beyers are really, really good for that. And in my opinion, better than the Focals for these types of music. Because, yeah, for me, the Beyers actually have a bit of a wider soundstage than the Focals do. I was expecting the Focals to have decent soundstage. I mean, it does have a decent soundstage, but it's not as wide as the Beyers. So the Beyers, to me, sound more spacious, and it's a little bit more lively and dynamic, and definitely it's got punchier bass. So for those of you who like electronic music, I do highly recommend the Beyers for that. The Focals, I think it's good for all types of music. It's very balanced. It's got very detailed highs, very revealing mids compared to the Beyers. So for the mids and highs, I think the Focals are definitely have more clarity and more revealing than the Beyers. Soundstage is actually slightly smaller than the Beyers, like I said. And then the bass, I prefer the bass on the Beyers more, but I recognize that the Focals are going to be a little bit more neutral. So those of you who are looking for a souped up version of the Sennheiser HD650s will probably be satisfied with the Focal Elexes. But it's not as neutral, I would say. It's not like trying to be like perfectly referenced either. So I can see that the Elex does try to push up the bass and the highs a little bit more. But the Beyers definitely push up the bass even more than that. So it really depends what you're listening to. I would say for electronic music, for tracks with a lot of bass, Beyers are definitely better for that. And the Focals, just pretty decent for everything. It's fairly balanced, but generally for stuff with a lot of mids, like for vocal tracks. And then other tracks that have like maybe a lot of guitar in it, I think Focals are pretty good for that. But yeah, it really depends on the genre. I think they're both good, but for different things. Like if I was listening to electronic music, then definitely the Beyers are really good for that, or hip hop, or just stuff with a lot of beats. I would listen to the Beyers for that. Then if I'm listening to vocal tracks, or if I'm listening to maybe older music or jazz or something like that, I think the Focals are really good for that. Yeah, hard rock, probably the Beyers actually, and then classic rock, probably the Focals. So it really depends what kind of music that you're listening to. So anyways, guys, that's it for this comparison. That's my updated opinions of these two headphones. I think they're both very good, but in their own ways. The Beyerdynamics, very, very good for people who like bass. Beyerdynamics will give you a lot of that. Not too much. Like I said, it's not like Beats or Bose or Sony or anything. They don't push up the bass way too much like on their consumer headphones. So it's just very tastefully done bass. Highs are very nice. Mids a little bit recessed, but still there. Overall, very good detail, sound quality, etc. Focals, if you like the Sennheiser HD650s, Focals just gives you more of that. More detail, more revealing, better soundstage. Maybe not quite as neutral as the Sens, but very close, very balanced still. Yeah, so nothing is like really overly emphasized on the Focals, I think. So for me personally, I still prefer the Beyerdynamics a bit more because it's more comfortable, and I actually like to have a little bit more bass presence. But those of you who want a more balanced sound, more neutral reference quality sound, I think the Focals are probably the way to go. So that's just my final opinion on that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.
They're actually pretty nice. Bass is actually pretty bloated, but
yep, definitely has bass.
Yeah, the bass is actually pretty emphasized. It's even a bit more than the V shape in terms of it's actually more emphasized on the bass than it is on the treble. The treble is elevated a little bit, and I would say the mids are pretty neutral, but the highs are a little bit elevated by a touch.
I can definitely feel the bass is pushed up on these.
The bass is just really strong, but it's still pretty tasteful. So
yeah, that's why I think so. It's not like overly like too much.
It's not like the Sony ones.
Yeah, exactly.
The Sony ones are just ridiculous.
Yeah, or the Bose, you know. Yeah.
Let's leave it here for a sec, because later on when we get back, I might test out for a few more tracks. I'm going to try out some other tracks. Very interesting. These are higher level than the Focals you had before?
Yes. The Focals I had before, those are older generation, but these ones should be based on the upper level, like the one above my old Focals.
Well,
so
I'll listen to them more later when we get back.
These ones feel more neutral, right, compared to the Beyers?
Yes, these are more neutral than the Beyers.
Yeah, I can feel
but it's mainly more neutral in the bass area. So the bass here is actually quite neutral,
because overall they said this should be a souped up version of the HD650s. And the HD650s are known for being more neutral, so.
Yeah, easy and neutral, but they sound a little bit veiled.
These ones should be like a little bit more clarity and detail than the 650s.
They're less veiled, but at the same time, I would say I don't remember too much about the 650s.
Yeah.
But this one, overall they're good. I like them. They're more neutral. I find the thing is on the mids, it emphasizes a little bit more on the upper mids, but it's a little bit recessed on the lower mids. And the other thing is they're overall good, but then also the treble though is more on the lower treble. So which makes sense, because I've noticed that the sound was more elevated on the upper mids, which probably bled into the lower treble. So then it wasn't quite as elevated on the upper treble.
Okay.
So it was that. So it's right at that upper mid to lower treble range that it was elevated, and then so that's why when you hear like Hendrix sings, only when he's doing high pitch it goes louder. But when he's doing his low pitch like singing, then it's actually you can't hear it as much. It's a bit recessed. And then the drums sounds a bit more boomy. The actual cymbals sound boomy. So it's the low treble that's elevated this one. So this one, the bass is kind of neutral with a little bit elevation, just a little bit. And it's just that little range in the upper mids and then the lower treble that's also elevated. But overall still a linear profile, but because of this way of doing it though, I think it lacked a little bit of soundstage. So it lost a little bit of soundstage. So then that's why the bass guitar, I can't hear where the bass guitar is coming from now. The bass guitar is actually covering everything now.
I like both of these. I think that they're both good. So they're just different sound signatures.
Exactly. They're both pretty solid. They're both pretty good stuff.
But that means the Beyer is actually pretty good for the price.
Yeah.
Because I can get that for $350.
If you have to choose, I would take the Focals because it's a bit more linear. Because I find the Beyer's bass is just a bit too much for me, but they're still good though. I still like them.
Yeah, but the bass is like pretty well. I think it's tasteful.
It's still tasteful. Yeah. Better than the Sony. Sony ones are not tasteful.
Oh, Sony and Bose are just way too boomy.
Yep. Yeah, that's why that's why you see I hate the whatever so much. I hate the Sony one so much.
Yeah.
I would have gotten it. I was testing out for like 40 minutes in Japan in the department store.